Back at 8:13, it's a story our Ted Daniel broke yesterday. A state police search warrant unsealed, adding more intrigue to the case of Karen Reed. She's accused of backing into her police officer boyfriend with her SUV and leaving him for dead. The warrant shows Reed shared sensitive information about her case with Aiden Carney, the blogger known as Turtle Boy, who was defending her in his blog posts. Pleased to be joined this morning by Boston 25 legal analyst, noted defense attorney Peter Ellikin. And Peter, another twist in this case. This information was gathered after state police seized two of Karen Reed's phones. So how unusual is it for a defendant to essentially be the leaker of information to the public?
Well, it's generally speaking, we lawyers don't like our clients to talk to anybody at all, because they obviously, even if they were accused of a crime, they could say something that would be harmful to them. However, there is absolutely nothing improper or illegal about this. An accused citizen can talk to neighbors, friends, journalists, certainly journalists talk to accused people all the time. So I'm not really getting the importance of this story. It's kind of a tempest in a teapot. A prosecutor can't have it both ways. You can't accuse someone publicly of, evil, monstrous acts, killing somebody, and they're not allowed to advocate for themselves and say, no, this is why, here's evidence why I'm not guilty. This is why I don't think so. You're as an accused citizen under every bit of the Constitution, you are allowed to talk publicly or to journalists.
So as you mentioned, do you think her attorneys were aware of and would they approve of doing this? I'm guessing you don't think so, at least in terms of approving this.
Yeah, I certainly wouldn't. It's conventional wisdom. We lawyers never want our clients to talk. Clients, particularly ones who are actually guilty, often won't realize that they're saying incriminating things about themselves. So as generally speaking, as policy, we never want them to talk to anybody else or journalists. Again, nothing illegal or improper about it, but lawyers just generally don't like it.
And so then no crime here, you're saying?
I don't see anything whatsoever at all. They're trying to mention witness intimidation or I don't know whether this is just a way to kind of get into her phones to kind of dig and see what else they can find or whatever. But so far, everything that's been disclosed to the public now, what she's talked to with Turtle Boy or with any journalist, there's no sign there of witness intimidation or jury tampering or any of the implications the prosecutor's talking about at this time.
And do you see this having any impact, Peter, on the case, which is set to begin the trial next month?
No, I really think this is irrelevant unless something new comes out. The idea that somebody's advocating or, accused citizen advocating for themselves, I don't see how that can affect the case at all. There's just something wrong, improper, or illegal about it. So I don't see it affecting the case whatsoever.
A lot of media coverage on this case. Do you think there'll be a request for a change of venue or bringing in a jury from another county for this case by any chance?
I haven't heard any rumblings about that at this point. And the main problem is there's, we could say another county, but this has gotten such publicity everywhere. It's not like only people there in Norfolk County or in the Dedham area are aware of it and people in Springfield aren't. I think we're all so aware of it. I don't know whether you could find a jury who hadn't heard anything about this case yet, certainly here in Massachusetts.
All right, it's our defense attorney, legal expert, Peter Ellikin, sharing his insight this morning. Peter, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. Thanks so much.
Pleasure.
Welcome, Mike Crawford. Got a special guest tonight. Definitely going to talk and take your questions. Let's get to the guest. We got Sean McDonough standing by. Can't wait. We got a lot to share tonight. For those who don't know, Sean this is awesome too. His title, Special Agent. I love that, special. When special really means something. A special agent for the Drug Enforcement Administration, known as the DEA, for over 25 years. He won the highest DEA award for rescuing some missionaries, I believe it was, in Peru. We might talk about that tonight. Ask him about that. He's also has other 25 years of the DEA. Also was a Capitol police officer, and also was a detective for another, I believe, town or city police department. So he's got a variety of law enforcement experience. He was also inducted into the Westfield State College Criminal Justice Hall of Fame. So he's a major person in law enforcement. He grew up in Dorchester, I believe, and went to high school and graduated in the 70s from Canton High School. He's publicly stated that his interest in this is about justice for John O'Keefe, and that's what we're going to talk to him about tonight. Let's bring him up. This is who everyone wants to hear from, so let's let him speak tonight. What's up, Sean on the Gulf? Sean
Michael,
McDonough.
how you doing, Michael?
Good. How you doing?
Oh, thank you for having me again tonight. It's been a minute, right, since the last time I was on your show here.
I know it's been a crazy time too. Like in terms of since you came on, people are criticizing me for saying that you still believe that Karen Read is innocent, because you haven't stopped believing. But I just say that tonight on the title because the first time you came on was quite a while ago, and this is like you're coming back, and you still believe the same thing. Is kind of the way I was thinking of it. The first time you came on, you like broke every record on this show, like on our YouTube, the YouTube account that we have. That episode had the most views of anybody, more than Michael Picard, the professional douche, who got a lot of views, more than American Spy Fox, more than Turtle Boy, more than Senator Ed Markey and the Congress people we had on the show, more than Lorna McMurray, which was a big story for us too. You were number one, and tonight we might do that again on the podcast and on especially YouTube. So I'm really happy to have you back tonight, Sean.
Well, it's great to be back, Mike, and I appreciate it. I just want to, I didn't tell you this at the beginning, but I want to start out with a personal story about myself, actually today. I've been in this fight since basically April, and today was a very depressing day for me. I almost canceled the show. I woke up after reading the affidavit yesterday, and 31 pages to search and seize 2 cell phones. And I started thinking the enormous pressure Karen Read has to be under. The fact that she's been persecuted for more than 2 years. The fact that she has been maligned. She has been tortured both in the press and on social media. And it was the first time I said to myself, look at the lengths these people are going to harm her even more. And I started thinking, should I cancel? Should I not cancel? Is my heart where it should be? And I started thinking more. And I said to myself, no, this is the time to stay positive. This is the time that Karen needs us the most, all of us. And I said, that's it. We're going forward. And I just had to shake this out of myself. So it was.
Haven't we seen this roller coaster too so many times? I mean, I've been on it. Obviously, people wanted to make it about me sometimes. I don't want to talk about me tonight, but just in general, all of us have seen this roller coaster where just this week, Aiden got great news. Mello got totally swatted down by a judge for the ridiculous motion he filed against Aiden and his attorneys, basically. And then they come back with this. It's just so, like, I look at it, the search warrant thing. It's so like doesn't show strength. If they felt like their murder case was so strong, why would they be going this way? That it just shows their weakness, in my opinion, because it looks like their murder case isn't that strong if they have to go for this crazy stuff.
Exactly. But in closing, I just want to say, if Karen is out there happening to be watching, I'm never stopping. I'm never going to not have you back, and I'll do everything possible I can to see you through this. So with that, Michael, I'll just turn it back to you.
The opposition on the other side will say that shows that you have a bias, that you right or wrong, that you'd stick with Karen Read. What would you say to that?
Well, I said this the other day. I spent 35 years at the prosecutor's table, right? this was no easy move for me. I took my job very seriously. And for me to be backing a defendant who has been accused of killing a police officer, the profession that I chose to be in, it was not easy for me to make this decision. I'm going on my experience and the evidence that has been brought against her. And none of the evidence coincides with the Commonwealth's theory at all. And that's why I'm in this. I am in this because she has been framed. I know she has. Her team knows she has. And the federal government knows she has.
I love that response. And it's someone made a comment. It said a bias for truth and justice. I mean, if you know the facts of the case, there's so many issues with it. So that's what I kept coming back to, especially like, you know, a lot of the haters were saying when you kind of disappeared that they were telling, I'm going to be honest, like some people think I'm too honest and I shouldn't be so honest in public, but I'm going to say some honest things. But some of the haters were saying that you're being away when you were silent on Twitter meant that you didn't support Karen Reed anymore and that you thought Karen Reed was guilty. That's the things that they have been whispering. You know that, right?
I don't know that, but I can tell you right now that is completely false. There was I'll be honest, okay? The Facebook groups were getting outrageous. The toxicity was, I couldn't handle it. I did tell our friend Aiden that I would be leaving, but I had one project left to do, and I want to see that project through. I knew I was leaving Facebook. I just couldn't take it anymore. It was outrageous. Getting into Twitter was another thing, but I left because everybody needs to take a step back. And by taking a step back, and of course the death of my father, you know, as sad as it was, I mean, it was an opportunity for me to regroup, recharge the batteries. And when I did come back to Twitter, I came back with some fury and some fire. I mean, that's my personality.
And a lot of the facts of the case about the taillight. I mean, I know that we started talking about the warrant, but you've got a lot of info tonight that you want to share about the taillight. We were talking about that. I was talking about it on the last episode, you know, just basically based on all your Twitter posts, which really lit a fire under me too. I think and a lot of people out there, just when you look at the documents, the photos, the videos, you noticed a lot in this. Like, where do you want to start with one of the videos, or where do you want to go with this now?
I'll tell you what, I want to comment just briefly on the search warrant because I did have an opportunity to rehash it. Okay. Look at the ways and the manner in which they worked so diligently to not do one search warrant, 3 search warrants, 3 times they tried to get those phones in December. I think it was December 23rd. Think about that. 2 days before Christmas. Are you serious? Pinging her phone, doing all this stuff. Where's the Ford Edge that a witness, all right, that they interviewed? Where's that Ford Edge? It appears to me, had they just done half of what they've done to ruin her life and investigate like true investigators, this case would be solved right now. She would not be in the position she's in. Natalie, they have had Natalie's files for more than 4 months. I know this. I know this for a fact. The Commonwealth has allowed some of those texts that they have in possession from Natalie to be leaked. Okay, yet they are now accusing Aiden and Karen to conspiring for leaking information. How hypocritical can they be? When I know, and I'm not going to name them because they're normal people, but they're allowing the other side to leak selective texts that incriminate Karen or discredit Karen. Okay, they have the hammer text, they got the explosive text because I have them too. But the fact that they would actually, I don't know who did. I know the person who went to California. He's the gatekeeper. I say it on Twitter. The gatekeeper has that information. She gave him what she gave me in July. I sat on that information. I could have blown it out of the water. I'm a professional. I would never do that. The other thing, how about this? The Canton police altered all kinds of reports. The state police altered all kinds of reports. They change the charging documents all the time. What kind of credibility do they really have in this manner? Okay, and now this is the deal. Okay, at the final hour, when they know that TUI process is about to drop, they know it. All right, they're going to take these extraordinary measures to expose Karen and Aiden, something they've sat on for at least 4 months. To come out now, what? To put her in fear? She's not a well woman. She's been persecuted. And she has, first of all, she's been under charges of second-degree murder for killing the person that she loved. And now they want to, which I believe, just think about this, 31 pages to do a manual search warrant on 2 cell phones. I could do that on the back of a matchbook. 31 pages. I'll just leave it like that. But that's my soapbox. I think it's outrageous what they're doing. I've never seen anything like this. I said it before. I'll say it again. This case will never go to trial, ever. She will be exonerated, but they're going to make it harder for her. In the end, she'll be victorious. And a lot of people will be celebrating. A lot of people will be crying.
And that you did say that on our first show when you were back many months ago that this would never go to trial, which is now what the defense is pushing for February 15th. It looks like, right?
The defense, that's D-Day for the defense.
Right.
That's the day they get to argue the motions, why they feel these indictments should be dismissed and why they feel that the government, the Commonwealth, should be sanctioned. Okay. I said it from day one. I spent 35 years in this game. There is absolutely no way that this case could ever go to trial, ever. And
let's talk about some of the reasons, just from the taillight evidence. I know you wanted us to kick off with some videos.
Absolutely. The taillight is to me is the crux, I'll put it like this, is the over crux of how they planted evidence to frame her. And we'll go through it.
Let's put this one up. We got a few here.
The claim you can see, the victim's SUV move, indicating that there was a collision.
Can you back that up, Mike?
Yeah, let's try to play it again. Hold on a second.
The SUV parked. And the defense says that she makes contact, hits the victim's SUV right there, damaging that back right passenger side tail light. And they also claim you can see, the victim's SUV move, indicating that there was a collision.
Stop it right there, Mike. Stop it right there.
The victim's SUV.
Let me get it back.
Right there. Okay. This can tell everything. So right off the bat, what do we see? Oh, let me step back. When that court TV video came out, I said, this is a gold mine. This is the thing that's going to make this case or break it. Okay. And I took upon this as my little pet project. And then I brought a friend of mine from Boston. He was not a part of the original team, even though everyone thinks it was a fake team. But he and I really analyzed this. So I'm glad you stopped it. And this is very important. See the tracks of Karen backing up, okay? And don't move yet, Michael. But
nope, we're not moving.
There's going to be a later picture where we show those tracks. The track to the left, all right, you can see how those tracks are not going straight back. They go in at an angle, okay?
Exactly.
And that angle is going to be crucial because that is how myself and my partner determine the exact point where Karen cracked her taillight. There is no doubt. What I don't get, people keep saying, well, Sean, she she cracked the taillight, but you're saying she didn't. No, she cracked the taillight. Absolutely. That's where she cracked it. And so now this is where I started my journey. Okay. I looked at that right rear, right side of the taillight. See how it is completely intact?
Yeah.
Now, that's 5:08 in the morning. Listen, I've beaten this thing dead. I've had people say, Sean, get off the goddamn taillight. No, this is what is going to make
This is the
or break.
case.
This is the case right here.
Yeah, because
Um,
Proctor said the taillight was smashed, and it doesn't look
Well,
smashed. And
I
this is
actually-
at 5:08, and this is how it got cracked. You're showing that it was like well after they said
Yeah.
she hit him.
I actually said it was smashed. Proctor's own words in his own affidavit that he raised his right hand to swear on, okay? And just remember this. If they lie once, they'll lie many times. He said when he went, 12 hours, 13 hours later to Dighton, that right rear, right side taillight, it's right there facing you, quote unquote, was shattered and a large chunk missing.
That's right.
Okay.
But he didn't take any pictures in Dighton.
Didn't take any pictures. And
I
just
mean,
remember,
who doesn't? Everyone has a cell phone in their pocket. Why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't the first thing he does is inspect the car? I mean, that just
well, yeah,
and
exactly.
take a picture.
And of course, the tow truck driver confirms that there was no damage. Now, listen, did he see the crack? Probably not, because it was snowing, all kinds of snow. And where that taillight was cracked is in between the brake light and the red. We'll analyze it more down the road, but it is clear as daylight right there at 5:08 in the morning. That taillight is intact, and there's no two ways about it. And so you can play it through, and then we can go to the next one, which is the actual.
It's a collision. The victim's SUV.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't cut you off.
Right, that's fine. That's fine.
You
So
wanna
the
play it?
actual, so the next one is the we're zoomed in now on the back left tire of John's Traverse, where it juts forward and there's definite impact. You cannot deny that.
Let's play that one.
Sure.
I think this is it.
Yeah. You have to. Yeah.
That's one of them. This is another angle too. Let's watch this one.
This is the one I want right there.
Well, it's really quick. But people can see it move.
Yeah, you can do it again.
Yeah.
It gets better. There it is. One more time.
It's playing. I don't know why it doesn't play again. It's weird.
You can do
Hold
it.
on.
You just do it. Right there. The whole car moves. Now, the interesting part about that and the other video.
Right
Is that-
there. That's right when
right.
it moves right here. Watch this,
Right.
people. Just we'll watch it one more time. Yep. Okay.
Right. So, two things stand out in both videos. When Karen's backing up and she made impact, John's vehicle literally stopped her car, because you can see after impact is made, it's like maybe a second, maybe 3/4 of a second that she engages her brake light. You can see it, it's clear as daylight. So we know there was impact made. No deniability on that. So now, if you want to go to your slides, we can show the tracks, and we have, okay, there you go. This is perfect, okay? So clearly, and I owe this all to my friend, we'll call him D. This guy's a master, he really is. And see how those the tracks are off-centered?
Yep.
That is the actual angle she's going in. And if you look at the end of that track at the left side, that's the end of the tire. Well, there's 40 inches left from the end of that tire to the bumper, okay? Now, think closely. Everyone say, oh, it was bumper to bumper. No, it wasn't, okay? It wasn't bumper to bumper. Okay, what it was the taillight on Karen's car. That rear taillight is rounded and it juts out 5 inches. We measured it. You might have it there. There's no problem. Trust me. The people who follow me know that I've killed this a million times. That taillight in the corner, the rounded edge, because that's a key, the rounded edge, all right, juts out 5 inches. When the car made impact, now you can go to the next slide. It made impact. We theorize maybe around that area right there, which is where the hatchback and the windshield wiper for the rear windshield is affixed. Now, it doesn't take much to understand that a 6,500-pound vehicle going into a stationary vehicle at 40, let's say 4,500 pounds. All right, the laws of motion. All right, Sir Isaac Newton. An object in motion tends to stay in motion. We see the car get stopped by the other car, not by the brake. That's important. There was definite impact that caused that crack. No doubt about it.
That's the spot right where the windshield wiper is. That's
right
where
in that
hit,
right in that
there,
area.
that circle.
And that people need to look at that area very closely, because that's an important part of the other part of this investigation, right at that area.
We had our friend Olivia Nile just weighed in too. She just said, you know what's wild? Karen doesn't have to prove that her car did in fact hit John. It's the state's burden to prove her car didn't impact John. This video quickly settles that debate. She did. So
Olivia is, I call her the combat analyst. She's amazing. She's a combat analyst.
Combat. This is like combat. And this is what you're talking about, the jutting out of the tail light, right?
This is real. This is incredible, because at the end of this little slideshow, this happens to be the coup de grace. It has to be, okay? What do we have here? We have, obviously, the right side of the taillight. You can't miss it. It's right there looking at you. It's completely illuminated. It's red because we had to expose it a little bit more. But look in the corner where that arrow is pointing. That is the rounded edge, and that juts out 5 inches, okay? That, everyone needs to keep their eye on that part right there, because that's the only part, remember this, it's the only part of the taillight that's rounded. All the rest are flat, straight, whatever. That part is the only part that's rounded. Remember, 5:08 in the morning.
5:08. It's funny. We got a lot of comments that someone said that, why do we have so many trolls in here? I haven't even been reading them. I don't even know. Do we have a lot of trolls? We have 1,400 people, so I don't think like the trolls are going to mean anything tonight.
Let them in. They're fine. They're all
let them in. Let them in.
They're harmless. They really are. They're on their last breath. They know it.
So there we go.
Right, there you go. Come on. Now listen, if that thing was shattered, right, with a large piece missing, I don't know what he meant by large piece missing. Well, that would be bare. That would be like a half moon coming at you, right? Because we see the video. We do see the video as she's leaving live. It's all red. Everything's red. These are exposed higher to show, all right? It may look white to you, but it's not. In reality, if you see the whole video, everything's completely red. And I suggest to you right now, and I'm going to make this exactly as clear as possible, okay? See that circle right there? If any part of that, what's inside that circle, would ever make its way into evidence, well, you got a duck, and it's quacking because someone planted evidence. There's no way any part of that portion right there, which Proctor said under the pains and penalty of perjury, was shattered with a large piece missing. He's caught. He's caught because it's not there at 5:08. It clearly didn't happen at 12:30 that evening when they alleged, the Commonwealth, that he hit John, that the car and Karen hit John. Come on, who we fooling here? Okay, that right there. Oh, incidentally, this is the other thing. Jen says it's a crack. Kerry says it's a crack. Karen says it's a crack. They all saw it right after this car left. You know who doesn't say it's a crack? Proctor. He never once in his affidavit, other than quoting Jen, Kerry, and Karen, that there was a crack. He never said it. He said, and I know why he said it. He said it was shattered with a large chunk missing. Look at that picture. Look at that circle. Well, let's put it like this. I know it's not going to go to trial. All right, I know it. But if it ever did go to trial, I can tell you right now, if any part that's included in that circle, would ever make its way into listen, we're talking about 37 plus pieces of taillight that they supposedly found. If any part of the 37 pieces are in evidence, you got a person that's looking at some time in jail. I don't know who that person was. I can tell you right now, the guy who put his hand, all right, he lied in that affidavit.
I
I'll
can't
tell you
believe
right
that we don't have a picture of it. Like, I just can't believe that we don't have a picture of it.
now.
That's
There has to be a picture, because there has to be a picture. He has to justify, all right, what he put in the affidavit. Of course, there's a picture. We know there's a picture, but that picture right there, just remember 5:08 a.m. And he's saying that whatever the hell time he said he got to Dighton, he's saying that 4:30, it's shattered with a large piece missing. Well, you can tell right above the circle, that rounded edge, it's there. It's there. And we're going to see what it ends up at towards the end of the picture here. All right.
what we got on this one.
Yeah. So there again, it's red, right? It's not shattered. That's the right rear, right? He didn't say right middle. He didn't say right left. He said right rear, right side, right? Well, that circle is exactly what he said. Right rear, right side. That right there is intact. Okay? Again,
It's unknown.
I mean, this is a duck, guys. I mean, come on. This is a duck. It's quacking. It's waddling. Whatever you want to say. This is a duck. All right. Now, this is where my partner and I theorize, right? Because it's probably the best. That's where the crack happened, right around there. That's what Kerry Roberts saw all the way coming back from Jen McCabe's house. That's what Karen Reed showed Jen McCabe and Kerry. That's what they said to Procter and Company, that, oh, by the way, Karen said, and we saw that the car had a crack. That's where the crack was. That's in the middle. That's not on the left, and it's not on the right, because we got Procter saying it was on the right rear, right side. Hey, listen, I didn't write the report. I'm just using his words. This study that me and my partner did was so easy, because what we did was we basically used his own words against him. I mean, I said this on Dave's show. Dave's a great guy, Dave McGrath.
Yeah, I love Dave. Good
right.
man.
Listen, they always said it's not the crime, it's the cover up. Okay, so here's the deal with this. 35 years. You may mess up the investigation in order to frame someone. Don't ever mess up the cover up, because you control the cover up. I'm going to tell you right now, I'll keep it GP for you. There is no way. They right there completely messed up the cover up. They demolished the cover up. They ruined their investigation, but they demolished the cover up. Somebody's going to jail behind that lying on the affidavit and planting of the evidence, because the next slide, I think it's coming up. Well, that's okay. So stop right there. And this is even better.
Well, yeah. What are we looking at on this one? Because I've seen this and I always wondered where this photo came from. What is this?
So what we're looking at, Mike, is it's Karen's car, right? And the whole taillight housing has been removed. Now, Sergeant Peter Murphy, retired 30 plus years, Canton sergeant, was on the original 5 guys that didn't exist. He was in the shadows when I first came out, okay? And I identified Brian Wallace, identifying himself to a source. I called at the time my source, that Brian Wallace admitted not once, twice, to have removed the taillight housing. Now, I've said this before. It's not per se what Brian did. It's not illegal. But they wanted to remove it. That's fine. They probably wanted to do high-speed analyzation, try to get DNA, whatever the hell they wanted to do. It's not what he did. It's what the investigators didn't do. They didn't include Brian Wanless in their reports. And the most critical thing, and I used this before many times, all right? I did this myself as a crime scene guy. It was a murder in Arlington. Guy used a pistol, handgun, right? So we could secure the scene, as always. That's the number one thing, you secure it. So the murder weapon is on the ground by the body. We don't know if it's suicide. We don't know what happened, but we have to secure the weapon, all right? That's the Commonwealth's murder weapon, okay? So if someone in the case that I talked about when I was processing the murder in Arlington County back in 1985, somehow removed the magazine from the pistol, which is fine. It's okay. You wear your gloves, the whole nine, take the magazine out. You want to count the bullets, it's all fine. If I omitted that action for him, for example, I never wrote about it. I just said, yeah, we put the gun into evidence. Well, that's a lie. I have scoured the reports 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times. Not once does Brian Wanless show up on any report, but the most crucial thing he's not on is the chain of custody for evidence. And the chain of custody in court parlance is, if you break that chain, that evidence is considered tainted. Brian Wanless removed that housing from the vehicle, for the taillight. There's no report of it. Who touched it? Where did it go? Hey, listen, they said they found John's blood. How do you know the red solo cups weren't used to dab it and put blood on it? I'm just saying, because guess what? It's free game now. Any good defense attorney said, well, guess what? We're going to put Brian Wanless on the stand, but we're going to put his good buddy, the guy that supervised him for X amount of years. And by the way, the guy who took copious notes and said on such and such a date 2 times, he admitted to me he took the taillight housing out. You know the thing he didn't admit, which is absolutely crazy? The one thing, when Peter Murphy asked him, who told you to remove it? Then Brian Wanless shut down. He wouldn't give that. He would rather admit to possibly tampering with evidence, but he wouldn't give up the person who called him in to remove the taillight. That's crazy. It's ludicrous, but that's what that picture is. That was after the cops took it, put it into MSP evidence.
I wonder what Wanless might have told the FBI, because your source talked to the FBI too, right?
Oh, my source, 2 of the Canton police sources talked to the FBI. So I don't know if Brian was spoken to. I know he's being hard. I know he's toeing the line. I know he's made representation that he might have a shady memory. I don't know. The guy, in all accounts, has been a good guy, a good police officer. I don't know. But again, he might be saved by the belt, because I don't think this is ever going to go to trial.
I'd love to hear from him if he wants to talk to us.
I don't think he'll talk to you.
I'm just throwing it out there, Brian. We just want to be fair. So this is what's going on with this one.
Okay, so here we are. All right. Now listen. You gotta understand, this is a close-up from Karen Reed's parents. I think it's Alarm. It's not Ring. It's probably alarm.com.
Alarm.com. That's right.
Okay. So now this is obviously exposed. We don't know what the condition, but it's definitely on. It's about to be put on to the back of the tow truck. Okay. I'll tell you right now, you cannot deny that right there is still intact. All right. I mean, it's right there. You can't deny it's not intact. And guess what? All Proctor had to do was take a photo. Take a photo of what he said he saw upon arrival. That's indicting. That's 13 hours after the alleged, that's almost 17 hours after the alleged murder of John O'Keefe.
It doesn't look shattered. That's for sure. It
No,
doesn't look like it has a large piece missing either.
And right where that colored right there, the kind of yellowish, okay?
Yeah.
There's 2 LED lights, okay? And if that happened to be shattered, and a person from Naples told me, Lexus of Naples, and their head tech said, if that side was shattered, first of all, he said it'd be very difficult for a human body to break anything on that taillight. But if that was shattered, the LEDs would not be functioning. I suggest right now that those LEDs are they're illuminated. You cannot dispute that. And Proctor had it's 101. You take a picture. Matter of fact, they should have just been on that completely, marked it for evidence, did something.
I think they did take a picture of something, which was this.
Well, here we go.
When they found the evidence hours later.
Yeah. So
like they didn't find it when they first searched the scene. They found this like hours later, right?
Let's just be very, very clear here. Like I told you back when we saw the arrow saying that taillight juts out 5 inches. And I told you on that taillight, that's the only curved part back at 508 that is intact, right? The only curved part. Well, the only curved part miraculously shows up at they say 545. Like I said, they say 545. They don't identify the trooper who found it. They don't identify where it was found. I don't know if it was picked up and put there. I don't know. I don't see a report. You're supposed to be able to accurately describe. Okay, for instance, on such and such a date at such and such a time, Special Agent McDonough, while digging, located this red piece, and immediately upon where he found it, because you're supposed to document and photograph with particularity where you found it. Okay, that I can tell you right now is not where they dug. All right. Matter of fact, if you look below that photo, if it came out because it's blown in, that's a shoe print below that. Below the taillight. That's a shoe print. So right there, and listen, our friend Kevin seems to think that planting evidence is an extraordinary feat. Extraordinary. But let me tell you right now, the fact he's saying, oh my God, they had news crews, they had cops, they had neighbors. That's what you want. You want confusion. You want someone to slip in. You know what it takes to take only 3 pieces? That's the only thing that left, Canton PD. You know what it takes to bend over? Everyone's doing their jobs. They're setting up lights. The camera crew is looking around. They don't know who to watch. They don't know if to watch the captain, this, whatever. You know what it takes to actually put your hand down and put it in the ground? Kevin, for some reason, thinks, oh my God, it would be virtually impossible. I can tell you right now, we would set up scenes in training, right? DEA training, right? Where we'd hide dope and all this stuff. It's extremely easy. When you have a passion to frame someone, it's the easiest thing in the world to do. This was simple, and they blew it. I'm telling you right now, that piece is on her car at 508. I said it on Dave's show. I'll say it again. There's not many hills people will go on to die on. I will die on this hill on the taillight. And someone is going to jail for planting evidence. This case is over because of that planting right there. I don't know who it was. The DA said that Proctor never went to the scene. I found that very hard as a lead detective. You never went to the scene. I'll take the DA's word. Someone else did. I'm going to tell you right now, they busted that taillight. They smashed it back at Canton. Canton had no jurisdiction. They had to get the car back to Canton because of the closest area to get to that crime scene, right? That was the crime scene. Don't let any fake person tell you that the scenes are ever changing. That's the crime scene, bottom line.
And then later, I don't know what his title was at this point. Was he even the police chief, or he had just retired as police chief? He showed up, Berkowitz, who had been the police chief forever, and he found more pieces later too, right?
Yeah. So
then there was no one there then, right?
Here's the thing. All right. We know that 3 pieces. We know this. This is what we know. The most impossible pieces of evidence to have been found at 6:30 in the morning by the Canton police was clear glass in snow, right? I gotta tell you, that's pretty good. And they found 6 little droplets of blood. Now, after that, that's 2 inches of snow. They found clear glass, almost an impossibility. All right. Now, I don't know, 18 inches now snows, and they find this, another piece of red plastic, and another piece of clear plastic. Okay. Like I said, I'll say it again. It's been a hoax. It's been a hoax since day one. We're going to find out exactly why it was so important for people to risk their careers and risk their freedom to frame Karen Read. Why was it so important? Who was being protected, and for what reason?
That's a big question.
I think we know. I'm pretty sure that the FBI has it all. We know they do. Come on. We know they do.
When do you think they might weigh in on this? That's been a question people are asking. Like, when do you think this will happen?
Well, it's going to happen before the 15th. I don't see how Lally or Morrissey can allow Jackson Yannetti. It's really amazing. Jackson Yannetti, Sacco and Vincendi. I mean, you got famous. This is going to be incredible. Do you really think they're going to allow those two killers? These guys they are assassins for defense attorneys. I call them assassins. They're going to come in and literally tear them apart. Will they allow that? Maybe they will. I don't know. I just don't know. So, but they will. Obviously, the FBI will have this report sometime before the 15th. They have to, and I don't think it's going to be a big deal, but it is a big deal. But it's not a big deal to get this report together because they have the evidence.
Absolutely. We get a lot of comments tonight. I'm posting some of them, but I want to post some of these super chats too because they got questions as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been talking too much.
Here comes Patty K. She's just donated $4.99. Thank you so much. She said, "Thank you, Sean, for standing strong. Karen could be any one of us. We need to trust our justice system again."
Yeah, we do.
Oats and Honey also gave the same amount, said Newton's third loss as the force of Karen's car returned back to her car, equal and opposite. 6,000 pounds times the velocity squared, 2 miles per hour would have been 24K. Do you understand that kind of math, Sean? I don't.
You know, I will say, when I went through accident investigation school, I hated that stuff, but I started studying again, and I just said, Oats and Honey. Yeah, I wasn't the smartest guy in math back in those days, but I can understand one thing. You got a 6,500 pound car coming at a 200 pound body. That car's winning every day, and no one's breaking any. This is preposterous. No one is breaking any taillight. I don't care. Maybe a crack, but 37 plus pieces. Come on, what are we talking about here?
It's true. Very true, especially that hard plastic. Bob Brown, super chat for 20. Thank you so much, Bob. Bob writes, Mike and Sean, if this doesn't go to trial, what is the legal status of Karen? ? Charges dropped, record clean, all rights restored, no chance of double jeopardy. What do you think?
Personally, professionally, I would say that they were the state. Now, would it be the AG? Probably. Would have to come in and exonerate Karen completely with prejudice so that she would never, ever, ever have to revisit this nightmare ever again, ever. That's the right thing to do. So it frees her up to get civil attorneys and sue away.
It's another comment from Oats and Honey. It's a question. Any pictures of the taillight from the Canton Police Department before the housing was removed? They also asked, which pictures had the metadata removed?
I'll say yes, there are pictures. Obviously, they have to have pictures because that's what crime scene guys do. Okay, and it was before the housing was removed. So
those pictures do exist. I was wrong on that.
Yeah, they do exist. They do exist. They do, because as I told Natalie, you are the goose that laid the golden egg. It was all in her files. Everything was in her files. But there's no reason for me right now to show that, because I think everyone would die of a heart attack if they saw the photo. So I'm just going to kind of leave that to the side.
Okay.
People will be blown away when they see that photo. I'll tell you right now, they won't believe their eyes. They won't believe their eyes, but they won't believe how arrogant these cops were to think that they hokey doke not only the justice system, but all of us. That's the problem.
Suzanne also gave $5. She said the force that it would take for a body to fly 12 feet would be substantial. The phone would have traveled further. I know it landed right under him. That's strange too. Newton's laws apply in Canton, and we don't know who found that phone, right?
Here's the thing. Obviously, and when I started out doing this, and I was all about the crime scene, I was all about criticizing the investigation. So theoretically, when John was eventually removed from where he was found, well, he was laying on top of the phone, and someone had to take possession of it. Again, miraculously, it made it to Canton PD. Who initially took it? I don't believe it was Jen. If I had to be a betting person, it couldn't be Karen. She was too distraught. I would think Kerry Roberts probably took it and handed it off to one of the cops. That would be my best bet. But I don't know, because there's no reports.
The question that came in, if Karen Reed case is dismissed, does that mean Turtle Boy case will get dismissed? What do you think, Sean?
Well, here's the thing. Karen's case getting dismissed is good for Karen. What we need to do is have the prosecution or the members who killed John arrested. And if those members are arrested, the witnesses that Turtle Boy is being charged with intimidating become defendants. So a couple of things do have to happen in order for that to, this is the thing about Karen, right? She's not only fighting for her life, right? But she's also fighting, the other weight is to prove third-party culpability. I mean, most people, like most normal defendants, can sit back and have the government or the Commonwealth, they have the burden to prove she's guilty. That would be great for her. But see, she can't. She can't sit back. The defense can't sit back. They are trying to not only clear her, but to get justice for John. They know in their heart he was killed inside that house. I know in my heart he was killed inside that house, because she didn't kill him, okay? No evidence on this earth suggests that she killed him. And if it did, why did the cops plant the evidence? That's it. If they had, they should have never had to plant the evidence. Listen, I'm going to tell you right now. You think I'm crazy? Another guy thinks I'm delusional, detached from reality. I'm going to tell you right now. Look at those pictures. You want to say I'm delusional? Good. But I can tell you right now, it's going to come out. I'm sorry, Kevin, but guess what? You had your chance.
We get some more. Jay Burke sent $4.99. He says the trolls are doubling down, but I appreciate the donation, but I don't know. I don't want to talk about the trolls tonight. F the trolls. What do you think, Sean?
What do you mean? Like talk about them? Hey, listen. Yeah. So I talk to them. I go back.
Yeah, but on the show tonight, do you want to spend a lot of time on the trolls?
No, because listen. This is the crazy thing. All right. When I took my little hiatus, all right, I had to deal with my father's death. I kept watching, and I saw these guys. Oh man, we got Karen doing this. Wow, we got her at Pico side checking her taillight. We got her switching off her GPS, and she mysteriously went back at 2:00. She had a hookup with Brian Higgins. What else? She veered off the course.
That's it. There's so much BS that they
I'm hearing all this stuff.
It's not true.
So I went back chatting with some of these guys, right? And I'm saying, okay, show me your evidence. All right. None of them have it.
That's exactly what I did. People got mad at me because I did that. Like I kind of you said psyop. I think that's a good term for some of the things that I did recently because I wanted to find out too. And to find out stuff, you got to talk to people in their language.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
you know, I came back with the same conclusion that they have nothing, like Kevin kept
Listen.
saying, talk to the other side. I talked to the other side. They have nothing
Oh.
except they hate Turtle Boy. That's like, it's,
It's really sad. It's really sad because I'll tell you, contrary to what a lot of people think, all right, Kate Peters she's not crazy. I can tell you, she seems to be very intelligent. All right.
she is a smart lady, no doubt about it. She got
It's
some
her
talent,
hatred.
too. Yeah.
It's her
blinded her.
hatred for Turtle. It's because something, she could be a very objective person. Listen, I believe she was on Kevin's show. She did not indict Karen Reed. She did not come out and say that Karen Reed was anything, but her disdain, her utter hatred for Turtle. And listen, I'm new to this guy. I'm new to this whole thing. Ratchets. I don't know what the hell they are. But listen, I know there's a history. All right. And I know a lot of these people in these chat rooms, they hate Turtle worse than anyone. And I get it. But should your hatred for one guy, all right,
blind you?
skew you?
We talk about, like, I talked about my bias. I wonder if they ever question their bias. Like, their hatred is blinded them. It's so true. And that's why, like, I don't like to go after Kate at all. She's coming after me a lot. Because I don't want to get involved in that. But and I think that I think maybe he did go too hard on her, honestly. Like, but she needs to get over it. Like, it's just like, come on. Like,
it's too bad because
it's like Grant and I, people think that I've gone soft on Grant or I want to be his buddy. It's the same relationship. Grant and I have had the same relationship that Kate, Peter, and Turtle Boy had. And I just don't like, it's nothing positive comes out of two people hating each other on social media over and over again. It's like, why do you want that to be your life? I don't.
Listen, you're exactly right. Grant's starting to engage with me right now, thinking did I know that Turtle Boy was an informant for the FBI on some neo-Nazi investigation? I have no idea.
I don't believe that. I mean, I want to know where Grant got that because he's putting that out there. I just don't believe it. Like, I'm not buying it.
And here's another thing. Grant's a very intelligent kid. I got to tell you.
Yeah,
he's off on a few things, but that's fine. But he is intelligent.
I think his problem is he's got too much ego there, unchecked.
Listen, I'll be the first one to say if I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But in this particular case, I believe this whole phenomenon was about the hatred that a lot of people had for Turtle Boy, and it shows. It's right in front of everyone. But should that indemnify? I mean, should that really discredit Karen Reed from a fair trial because of Turtle Boy?
No. That's go back to the evidence. Anne made a donation. She said, explain the dog bites. I don't know if you can. I mean, as a dog person myself who's been scratched on the arm many times, they kind of do look like superficial scratches. Like, there's different types of scratches. They don't like, it's funny because I've had dogs scratch me like that that are friendly. They get excited when you come to the house and they're like this, and I get them on my arm, and that's almost what it looks like, but I can't really tell without seeing it, up close in person. But that's what the scratches look like. I don't know about the bite part of it. What's your thing on that, Sean? Because you're more of an expert on photos and what they mean. What do you think?
Well, I'll have to admit, the first major piece of evidence that I saw that absolutely 1000% convinced me that a car did not hit him because of those lacerations. You cannot call these lacerations. They are, you can't call them abrasions. They are 1000% lacerations. Real quick about the ME, okay? And people need to understand this, okay? Any good detective will always know that a lot of your theory gets confirmed by the medical examiner. And generally speaking, when the body goes to the ME's office, it's supposed to be done clean. That ME should have the bare minimum. No hints, no winky, no nothing. Doctor, Tell us what you think. We have a theory. We're not going to tell you. The first theory was Karen killed John in a domestic assault. That theory was in play at least until 10:41 in the morning. We know that Yuri made a phone call to Good Sam, and it was noted on the medical records that they were still investigating, that the decedent, he was dead obviously, that the decedent is being investigated for being involved in a domestic with his girlfriend. Okay. Clearly that changed somehow, right? In the next couple of hours, because remember, 10:41 is about 45 minutes before the first interview at Jen McCabe's house, and they're all together. Okay. Now, you really want me to believe these reports? At 11:30, Proctor, his first report, his first known action in this case was interviewing Jen McCabe. Okay, fine. The next paragraph is he's over at Good Sam like a half hour later. All right, you're in a snowstorm. You really want me to believe you did a great interview of Jen, right? Got your clothes on, got in your car, and went to Good Sam. Got all whatever you had to do at Good Sam, and came back and interviewed Matt McCabe next, or Brian Albert next. In that time frame, it does not pass any test of time. It doesn't. So, anyways, but it did change, and we know it changed. But this is what I forgot to say back at on the taillight. At the time that the car was seized, this is also extremely important. Michael Proctor had nothing to link that SUV and Karen to 34 Fairview Ave. They didn't have any evidence, not one shred of evidence. They had 6 droplets of blood at 2 inches of snow, and they had pieces of broken glass. They could have gone into the house and examined the glass found outside with the glass inside, but no, they couldn't do that because they were more concerned about who was drinking and kissing at the waterfall. I mean, this is crazy. So that's down the drain, all right? So not one shred of evidence to link that car at 4:30 in the afternoon when he could have taken a picture. No, he had to get it back to Canton because that was the only way they could link Karen and that car to 34 Fairview. And they did. The problem is they zoned in on a suspect, all right? Good detectives, they'll eliminate all suspects. You know, they say the first person that's always a suspect is the spouse. If the wife is dead, the husband's the suspect, vice versa. Last person to see him, right? How methodical were those investigators when they were trying to eliminate who killed John O'Keefe? They just started interviewing witnesses. They didn't do any type of, and they did it all together. Those 3 witnesses, Kerry, Karen, and
Right.
At 6.
They should have separated them.
6:15 should have been taken off the scene, separated, and put down at Canton Police Station. I don't care whose case it was, you separate them. No one. They had access to the EMTs. They had access to cops. Jen saying she's given all kinds of stories to all the cops that would listen to her. That's tainting. That's colluding with people. Get her off the scene. Get her in a car, separated. Get down to the station, separate them. Because if you've ever been in a car accident and you see witnesses, they keep the witnesses separated to avoid collusion. Everyone's story is never going to be perfect, but at some point you'll get the story that finally meshes together. These people, I mean, come on, they were on the scene too long, and they lost control. They never had control to lose. They're letting Jen McCabe run the show. She made the call to get Karen back to the scene. She made the call to get Lank back to Brian's house. They never had control.
Absolutely. I want to ask you a few other questions tonight that are not about the Karen Reed case too, about your DEA time. Number one, like you got this huge pile of money on the cover photo.
Yeah.
Where, when, how much? Well, like, what's the deal with this photo?
So right there, I was a supervisor of the money laundering group down in Bogota. We were tasked to basically pick up all monies worldwide and bring it back to the traffickers in Colombia. So we had an undercover operation going that was tried and tested. 2 incredible cases out of Boston, which was incredible. Good guys up there. And it was one of the money seizures. And I believe, it was kind of funny. We would take a 12% commission, all right, off any load we picked up, any 2 million, 5 million, whatever.
The
right?
DEA would.
Oh, yeah. And listen, this was sanctioned by the Attorney General, all right? We were actually facilitating the laundering of monies, okay? So, but the thing is, when we get the contract, we get the pickup, we take 12% off the top. So 12% of $1 million, what is it?
100,000, 120 grand.
Right. So I believe this was that right there, I believe.
So 120 G's
so
for laundering $1 million.
Yeah. So basically what we did was we were self-sufficient. We didn't have to use government funds to investigate these crimes. We had
the cash right there.
Yeah, it didn't cost the government a dime, and we did deliver to certain entities of the cartels, but we always put it down at a place, and then the cops hit it. But we had to have 1 or 2 hands, and then we hit it because we wanted the traffickers to say, "Hey, listen, we gave it to your guy. It's on your guy," and they believed us, and it was ongoing for a long time.
Now, you made a post this week. I think I was talking about Natalie, actually, but I wanted to ask about your experience with it because it's like a major topic in like parapolitical YouTube's, shows, psyops, psychological operations. You said you have experience in them. You're an expert at them. You specialize in them. Tell us about when and how, if you can, have used psyops in the field of, with the DEA.
It's psychological operations, right? What you do is it's very simple. You manipulate the masses, right, to hit the intended target. Now, the reason I'm talking about psyops, because in my Facebook days, everyone kept criticizing, "Oh, Sean, you're talking in riddles. You're doing this. You're not coming out with all the stuff." No, I was, all right? Why would I talk to people, right, who, if I said, the sky was purple today, they would agree with me, all right? I didn't need that. So what I would do was I intentionally put things out that I knew would get to the people that I needed to get to. Like, for instance, say Brian Albert, okay? There were things that I put out during the Facebook times, all right, that our group, my 5 guys, all right, even though they weren't all guys, that we intentionally put stuff out. We knew it was getting back to the targets, all right, but it made no sense to the normal person, but it did to a seasoned police officer, all right. There was one Sunday we did like a Sunday massacre. We put out 6 pictures and we went boom, 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 and we identified all these guys and what their roles were, just to give people, all right, the masses a message, but the targets a better message. Like, we know who you are. We got you. It's just a matter of time. So that's what I meant about psyops. With Natalie was easy. She was easy to figure out. She just wanted a home. She wanted to be, stroked.
Wants to be loved.
She wanted something, but she gave up more than she got. I can tell you that. To me, I don't know what she gave up to the other side, but they can have her if they want her because, like I said, they've had that information for 4 months, and they're letting it out. Not Karen and Turtle Boy. They're letting it out. Isn't that hypocritical?
Yeah, they do that all the time. I want to ask you some more non-Karen Reed stuff. I want to get back to the Karen Reed stuff too, but I got to ask some of these questions.
Sure.
There's a guy named Eldon Boyd,
yeah,
who's had a lot of posts about his attorney, Kevin Reddington.
Yes.
If I ever do cover this, I would definitely have to have both sides, obviously, on this. Kevin Reddington, the attorney, and Eldon. but they seem to have a feud. Kevin was the attorney, a criminal defense attorney for Eldon. I read a lot of the files that, what happened to Eldon. I know you did too. For me, just reading the whole thing, it was just like, wow, why did Eldon get busted when all these other guys were the kingpins and they got caught red-handed, and it was a large seizure and it was a controlled delivery. Like, there was a lot to this whole thing. And they basically throw charges at the guy that's like the lowest guy in the totem pole that probably was 100% innocent, actually, like not even in on the conspiracy, just showed up there. And they charge him with what do you say? Assault on a police officer or on a DEA agent.
Assault on a federal agent. Yeah. So
yeah,
Eldon,
it's a major crime. And then he said Kevin Remington didn't allow him to question the witnesses. And it seems like there's something to it. What do you think about all this?
Listen, I do feel bad. I really do feel bad for Eldon. And there was times where I thought I could actually get him into the right spot just to give him some kind of exposure via you or Kevin or even Turtle Boy. But I know Turtle was completely focused on. So Eldon's case, and it's amazing. Yes, there was a controlled delivery. All right. The truck driver, I think it was 1,000 pounds of marijuana. I'm not sure. Truck driver, it's a classic thing. It was a lot. This is our bread and butter. And this is before it was legal, right? So a truck driver gets stopped, he gets popped, and he decides to cooperate. And sure enough, it's going to Massachusetts. So they do a controlled delivery is when they actually control the delivery. They follow the truck, constantly keep it in their sight. Maybe a cop's in with the
the cops actually started driving the vehicle. Actually, yeah,
right, yeah. So they get it all the way to Massachusetts, get bed down in a hotel. He does exactly what he does all the time. This truck driver worked for these guys forever. Makes contact with let's see, the first guy. First guy says, "All right, hold on, stay. We'll get the guy." Another guy calls him. It happens all the time, and this is how these people work. So they finally decide, okay, it's time to come in, and they're all at this warehouse owned by the principal who were in this organization. All right, I'm not going to say their names, but these were the guys that actually were the heavy hitters, and it's going into their warehouse. Okay, I believe it was in Milford, somewhere out there, Medfield, Milford. So listen, Eldon was a distributor for this group. There's no doubt about it. He fully admits it. But on this particular night, he was at the wrong place at the wrong time. He dropped his kid off, I think, to play basketball or something at the school. He had some downtime, and he went over to see the guys, not knowing that this truck is a couple of miles from being delivered. So sure enough, he gets there and he's talking to some of the guys. The next thing, one of the main guys says, "Hey, Joe and Eldon, why don't you go around the place and see if you can see anything?" They do, and Eldon spots a guy who he feels was on surveillance, right? It was out of place. It shouldn't be there. And he comes back and he tells the main guy, he said, "Listen, I think there's a guy over there, and he's in his car, he's by himself and doesn't look good." Well, obviously it had to be a surveillance guy, but it's at the same time the truck's coming in. The truck's coming in at the same time Eldon gives this guy up, gives the message. Sure enough, the truck comes in, and I guess Eldon was told to go back to the rear door and see if there's anything out there. The truck gets, as Eldon is walking, I don't know how big this warehouse was, but he's walking now to the back of the warehouse. All right. The truck comes in, and of course, as soon as the truck comes in, the cavalry comes in. Okay. His DEA and his local police officers is framing him, the whole nine. At that time, Eldon opens the door of the back to check what's out there, and he's got guns right at him, and I can imagine what it looked like. It scares the ever-living shit. I'm telling you right now, it's a very scary thing. You got 6 guys putting their weapons on you. He freaked. He closes the door. He panicked, right? And I got to tell you, Eldon, pot guys, no offense, Mike, right? Pot guys are very mellow.
Nice. They're nice.
Dangerous, right?
Yeah, we're nice people.
Listen, I used to say it's kiddie dope back in the day.
Right. It's easy. It's easy job, right?
Easy.
Yeah.
It easy.
Fun. It's fun. We don't make a big deal. We're like, oh, you got us.
And when he told me the story, I said, I believed him, right? The problem is, I mean, so then they open the door and they grab him, put him down, they search him, and they take him over, right? Michael, everyone gets brought down, I believe, to the Framingham Police Department.
Yeah,
right.
Framingham Police Department.
They're printed, photographed, and they're cut loose. Everyone walked.
Yeah. Even the guy who owned the place and
no one
everybody
got arrested. No one got arrested. I think they ended up getting, I believe it was a Mexican, the main guy from Mexico, and maybe one other guy in the organization. All right, there was 2 arrests. One pled guilty and one went to trial. He got convicted.
What happened to the rest?
So 2 years later, Eldon's on cloud 9 somewhere. Next thing, he gets notified. He's indicted. He gets arrested for assault on a federal agent. And evidently, now this is, I don't understand how this whole plays out. It felt weird because the statute is basically there. I mean, listen, agents do get assaulted, all right? But according to Eldon, right, he didn't do it on purpose. But I guess the door closed on one of these guys' foot, all right? I get it, listen. But when you use that that charge, assault on a federal agent, I mean, it's like when you actually hammer some guy or you shoot at him or you beat him, something very dangerous because it's a very serious charge. This guy is flabbergasted, but he had used Reddington for something else. So Reddington basically represents him, right? And as things go on, Reddington works out a deal that all he has to do is plead.
Just admit it, right? Yeah.
And he's going to walk. All he had to do is plead guilty. And so this is like there's one of these cases that happened to the Hunter Biden case. It's a plea deal, all worked out, all right? And so now he's in federal court, just like Hunter Biden was. He's going to go plead guilty and basically walk out. Because I think he did serve time. I mean, he definitely
did, yeah.
Yeah, so they're going to give him time served, right? So he gets up. The judge, this is crazy. And this is how I know this guy has some validity, because he gets up knowing that Reddington worked this thing out for him. Now, this is there's a paper trail to this. The judge asked him, okay, Mr. Boyd, you're being charged and you're pleading guilty today. And evidently, Elton did something weird that caused the judge to say, Mr. Boyd, you don't seem comfortable right now. All of a sudden, Elton goes, no, Your Honor, I don't. And next thing he says, Reddington's kicking him under the table. And I do see Reddington. He's probably saying, you son of a bitch, what are you doing to me?
Take this deal.
He's kicking him. Probably worse than the poor agent that had the door closed in his foot. Well, anyways, he goes, no, I'm sorry. I can't admit to this. I didn't assault that agent. And by the way, I know that wasn't the agent. The agent that I closed the foot on,
it was a different guy.
Federal agent. He wasn't. I said, Eldon, Jesus Christ. So the judge goes, well, obviously, Mr. Reddington, I can't accept your client's plea. So they go to trial, and he's convicted.
And he says that Reddington didn't call the witnesses. I mean, that could be. Yeah. And he thinks there's a conflict with his ex-wife, with Reddington and some of his friends, which maybe I don't know.
Right.
But it also could be Reddington was pissed because he didn't take the plea deal too, right?
Right. Well, I mean, let's face it. All right. I guess kind of like what Turtle Boy is doing right now. Turtle Boy, they say, could plead guilty. He could walk out of jail. There goes something.
I don't know if they're going to offer him that. Do you?
No, I know, but some people are saying that. I don't.
I mean, I could see something, but I don't know if they would. It just seems like this special prosecutor and Morrissey have it out for him. Big time.
Well, yeah. So I guess with this guy Eldon, he had a come to Jesus moment. He said, "Listen, in good faith, I cannot plead to this because I did not purposely, intentionally go to assault this agent. I don't have." And I guess he doesn't. He's a very peaceful guy. He admitted that, hey, listen, I should be charged with distributing marijuana. Charge me
Yeah.
for that, which is crazy. I said, Eldon. And so I
He
just
wants
say,
more. He wants. Yeah, it's so funny. But you
I
get
said-
that kind of proves that, to me, that Eldon is like serious. Like he didn't do this, which, maybe we will spend more time on it with
Yeah, I
another
wouldn't
show,
mind.
Eldon
Listen,
versus Reddington. We'll see if
yeah,
Reddington
listen,
responds.
I think the kid needs a shake. I feel awful.
Maybe
listen,
Reddington, we can get Reddington to be nice to him too. Like I think they're very adversarial. I
Yeah.
don't know if Eldon would even accept it, but we'll see. We'll see. I
Yeah.
appreciate you speaking on this, Sean.
No, because I do feel bad. I mean, I do.
Yeah, I do too.
Listen, I'm not a killer. I mean, I have a heart. I mean, let's
Yeah.
face it. I mean, but I said to him, I said, Eldon, let's be real here. All right. So you dealt marijuana illegally for years, right? He goes, yes, I did, Sean. Why didn't you just take the fucking deal and walk out and just live your life? Listen, I get it. It's a moral thing. I don't know, but it's the balancing act. You were a drug dealer, Eldon. You were a drug dealer. You were offered a deal. It's over with. But no. So you went to trial. You got 6-7 months.
He doesn't want to admit to what he didn't do.
No.
That's
And
it.
that's, so there's, like I said, there's some kind of credibility there, I guess.
Yeah, there is. I want to ask you about another character, and I want to be a little quicker because I know
Okay,
a
yeah.
lot of people want to talk about Karen Reed. A lot of
Okay,
our comments
good,
are like,
good.
let's
That's
get
good.
back to Karen Reed.
Sure.
But I want to ask about this other character because he's called me a bunch of times, and
Okay.
you mentioned it on Sean
Oh, God.
the other show. You
I
who I'm
know.
talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
Nikki Fiorello.
Oh, fucking my buddy Nikki. All
what
right.
I mean, to me,
Can I tell
there
you
could
the
be
story?
something there, but he also could be. I don't know. You've talked to Dan Duquette about this.
Listen, I've
Tell
talked
us
to
about
Nikki for months. All right. So the first time Nikki, I get this crazy. Listen, this could only happen to me. I said this 1,000 times in my career. If it's going to happen, it will happen to me. This guy calls me out of nowhere. It's this really secret squirrel shit. He says, Sean, you got to go through 3 channels. Call this number. I'll bang into this number. You can bang into that number and hit this dial. Hit 3 numbers and I'll talk to you. I said, are you shitting me? I said, dude, what are you talking? He said, Sean, please. They're going to kill me. They're on my trail. They're doing this. I said, okay. Like I need this like a hole in the head. I'm involved with this.
Like
I
I
said,
know I can't
Here we
even
go.
deal
Here we
with my
go.
life, the stress of Karen Reed, and I'm going to deal with this bigger thing.
Oh my God. So I finally make connection, right? I said, hello, how you doing? He said, Sean, I've checked you out. I know you're one of us. I said, dude, you don't know shit about me, but go ahead. I'll listen to you. Fucking guy had everything on me. I don't know how the hell he did, but beyond the normal things you can pay for, he had more stuff. He knew my political affiliation. He knew all this shit. So he caught my attention. So he said, I'm going to get a guy on. I said, all right. I said, who is it? He said, Dan Duquette, the former general manager of the Red Sox. I said, you kidding me? Dan Duquette gets on. So I said, okay, well, maybe this has some. So he tells me the story.
Does
And
Dan back him? Because I haven't talked to Dan.
Absolutely. Dan, 1,000. This is the thing about Nikki. And like I said, I kind of lost contact with him, but because of my father's death, because we were in contact, all right? Dan Duquette, 1,000% backs Nikki, okay? All right, now listen. Nikki's very eccentric, all right? But he's got chops. I mean, he's a Worcester guy. So back in the day, he's the one that got junk or got space or something like that. Got
space.
I don't know. Yeah, something like that with the the
infrastructure, the data infrastructure.
No, I'm talking back. The warehouses got
1-800 got junk.
Something like that. Or you put your furniture in while you're waiting to move. These little warehouses, right before it became commercialized. He was the guy that marketed all this stuff.
Okay.
He was brilliant, right? And he's got some quasi mafia type connections. I don't know. But he starts telling me this tale like he thinks I know all about this. I don't know shit. Tell me about Colombia. Tell me about Peru. I'll be able to understand. He's talking these names I have no clue about. But he tells this elaborate story of a scheme that he was basically railroaded because he was putting a $30 million company together. No, $30 billion company together that was going to be the next Google, right? They would have property down in Connecticut. And somehow he got investors to invest in this thing. It was a done deal. And evidently some of these investors were from the other side of the street. and they tried to do a Shylock on him, right? They tried to say, okay, we're in for this, but guess what? If you don't make us prime, whatever, more.
Yeah, if you don't give us more ownership all the time.
Right.
And
We want our money now, right now, or we're going to take your So this is how this whole thing started. I said, well, Jesus Christ, Nikki, what do you want me to do? I'm a retired drug agent. I'm down here in Naples. He said, no, Sean, I just need your platform. I said, what platform? He says, you got 26,000 people, and I could put planes in the air with stupid banners, and I can do this, I can do that. I said, yeah, okay, all right, whatever. So I think about it. But the thing was, he sent me all these files, all right? He would never answer the phone. He could only text with me on certain times. This was like spy stuff. I went through this on some other cases where we had these high-level informants, but we had protocols. This guy, he read the book. I'm going to tell you, the guy knows his stuff. But then again, you know, he thinks Whitey Bulger is living in France, and it kind of killed me on that. He says it right in his website, right? But anyways, the thing about Dan's 1,000% with him. Dan's a straight shooter. So
Dan's very successful. Like you said, he managed the Red Sox. I mean, that's in other teams.
And he's the first one, I believe, to bring about the steroid abuse in baseball. So Nikki's another. Listen, I think Nikki has something. I think he needs to be corralled, as does Eldon, and those are two tough guys to corral. But
exactly,
you know.
So we gave them plenty of airtime tonight. So I hope they're happy.
Yes, I hope so too, because like I said, in Eldon's case, I really do think he was railroaded. But then again, maybe I know he maybe should have taken the deal. I don't know.
We got a lot more comments and questions about the Karen Reed case, so I definitely want to talk about that. But you know what? I also want to ask you another question though about your DEA time, because you won this big award. What was the award from the DEA? And it's you rescued somebody or found them in Peru. Tell us about that.
Okay, for 3 years, actually 2 years, I was assigned up in the northern jungle of Peru, in Iquitos, Peru. It's a jungle city, and was a base for operations. We had a congressionally mandated program called the Riverine Operation, and that consisted of a joint operation between the Peruvian police and the Peruvian Coast Guard. And we had two coordinators, me and my partner at the time. It was basically a $3 million a year project. It was really good. And the $3 million was basically operational funds, expenses. So it was very good. Now, the Congress trained these guys, brought them to the United States, got them all outfitted on how to fix the engines. We had souped out Boston Whalers prototypes. They were beautiful. So that was our program. We literally went to the Amazon River, floated. It's kind of funny. We're going north, but we're going down river, going north. It's all reversed down in South America. So that was our job. We would conduct boardings of suspicious cargo. We had intel-based operations where we knew what boat was coming. We'd go out to the jungle and basically wait hours and hours into the night. And all of a sudden, down in the distance, you see the lights coming up in the boat, and we'd get up, board them, and you'd see livestock. You had prostitutes going back from Peru to Colombia. It was crazy. Try doing those searches.
In the jungle.
In the jungle. So I'll never forget this. It was April 20th, 2001. It happened to be the first academy I ever graduated from. Was before the Capitol Police was in Glencoe, April 20th, 1979. So April 20th, 2001, I get a call from our base in Lima. Said, hey, Sean, we have a report of a plane that was shut down. It's up in the northern part of the river by Huanta. I said, Jesus Christ, and they said, listen, the plane's on fire. People are in the river, and there's all kinds of packages of cocaine floating. And we need you guys to launch. I said, well, Jesus Christ, that's going to be about 3.5 hour boat rides. Don't worry. You're the closest thing to them. I said, fine. At the same time, the Peruvian, so it was the Peruvian Air Force that shot them down. And here's the thing. Back then, we had a another congressionally mandated program called the Air Bridge Denial. It's declassified now, so I can talk about it. And that was a program where we literally shot down planes out of the air on DEA specific intel. So in other words, the program worked like this. If we got the intel and we vetted the intel and was right, we would then provide it to a 3-letter operation that had access to the Peruvian Air Force. Okay.
CIA, NSA.
Absolutely.
Something like
Right.
that. Yeah.
Something like that.
Something like that.
Something like that. But it was a CIA run. Okay. So we've knocked down many planes coming out. So basically we would know that when planes came in from Colombia, they were going to load up in the jungle. They'd fly out of the growing areas with either the pasta base or whatever and bring it back to Colombia to be processed into hydrochloride, hydrochloride is the actual finishing process to get powdered cocaine. So it would leave Peru in the base paste form, brought to Colombia in airplanes. And this is back in 2001. So they were still doing that operation. On this one, I said, well, wait a minute. Why are they, who launched them? They said, Sean, we don't know. I said, I can tell you right now, we gave no intel. Make a long story short. We set our boats up. My partner and I, we went to the Peruvian Air Force and we jumped a float plane, one of those planes that float in the water. We took off. We had myself, my partner, a Peruvian, like it was like a fiscal, they call him. It's basically a prosecutor, right? We had one of the generals from the Peruvian Air Force, and we had a colonel from the Peruvian police, and a couple other guys, right? So we take off, and as we get closer to the area, sure enough, there's the plane. It's tipped to the side, okay? It's in flames, right? But we don't see anybody in the water. So we touch down, beautiful splash landing. We gear up to the shore, and we get out. And it's just like Fantasy Island. I was a kid. This way, all in Spanish. Literally, I'm telling you, this is in the middle of nowhere. And we've passed this place millions of times, right? So the plane's still smoking. So we get to this little schoolhouse. So me and my partner go in. The other guys are securing the plane, make sure that, it stays, I guess, protected, like crime scenes, right? This is a crime scene, right? Because we know that they were cocaine everywhere. So let's secure the crime scene. So my partner and I get in, and there's the fiscal, the prosecutor's with us. And we walk in, and it's very solemn. Right off the bat, I see on this desk 2 bodies in blankets, one large body and one smaller body, and very solemn. And we have a gentleman and his son sitting, being interrogated by a Peruvian police officer. So we get close, and my partner and I get close enough, and this guy is rapping Spanish like you wouldn't believe. But I could tell he was a gringo. He was an American. So I whispered to my partner, I said, hey, Timmy, this guy is an American. And he must have heard me, and he turned to me. He says, you're damn right, America, and you shot us out of the air. I said, whoa. So I said, senor, to the police officer, I said, can we have a break? So his name was James Bowers. This is an incredible story. So I get him outside. I said, listen, James, he's pissed. He's pissed. His wife is dead. His 3-month-old daughter is dead. All right. His son, Corey, went through a horrific shoot down. All right. And so anyway, I get him. I said, Jim, what's going on? He said, I don't know, you fucking guys from DEA. Why do you have to launch all the time? I said, what are you talking about? We didn't launch, right? I said, I can't tell you right now, but if you trust me, we'll get through this. Like, tell me a story. He said, listen, I went up to the Peruvian-Brazilian border to get a passport from my baby daughter. All right, there was an American consulate in this part of Brazil, on the border of Peru, Colombia, and Brazil. And I remember that day. It was April 20th. It was a beautiful day, and sun was shining, peaceful. He said, so we got our stuff, and we went back. And the guy, the pilot, was a pilot for hire out of Akita. He was an American too, Donaldson. So we're flying back and we're just kind of resting. My wife is in back of me holding the baby. My son, Corey, is out the window and I'm next to him. And we're just flying. It was a beautiful. We're about 4,000 feet above the water. By the way, this is all videotaped. All right. So next thing, he sees 2 Peruvian jets, and he goes to his son Corey. He said, "Look at the jets," and not knowing the protocols. The Peruvian pilots were on one channel. The American pilot was on another channel. They're trying to radio the plane. Plane can't hear them, and what they're doing, they're going through the protocols. They start waving the wings. Right, that's a signal. Right?
Yeah, it's not on land, right? Tell them to land.
They said, "Look at us. They want you to land." The second thing is they go under your plane, crisscross. Now these are fighter jets. Okay, these are the real deal, right? So the next one is a warning shot, and Jim goes to Corey. He says, "Hey, look at they're shooting a little plume of guns for us." And when the plane didn't respond, they opened fire on that plane. They shot the plane out of the air. They're at 4,000 feet. They just opened up. So the pilot got his legs all shot up. He looks back. He sees his wife is dead. The baby's dead.
Oh, my God.
The plane crash lands into the river. Okay. Somehow this guy had the fortitude, the courage, the actual heroic nature in him, courage to not only assist the pilot that had his legs blown up, gets him out of the water, gets him into the water, puts him on the wing of the plane, somehow has his son get out, puts him, and then he gets his wife and daughter who are dead. One shot. The bullet traveled through her chair, hit her in the back and the chest, and lodged into the baby's brain. Right? He is able to get the pilot into a dugout canoe boat, and he sent downriver towards the border to a witch doctor to attend to his legs. His legs are all shot up. Poor daughter and wife are brought in by the people, and they're brought to the schoolhouse. I said, "Jim, I'm so sorry." He says, "These guys want to lock me up." I said, "Why?" He says, "They think we're drug dealers." I said, that's not going to happen. So I got the fiscal in my best Spanish. I said, "Listen, this guy's with me. I'm telling you right now, this is going to be an incident. You let this guy come with me." And I know the guy. We had many nights together. He said, "Sean, we'll give you this break, but if it turns out bad, it's on you." I said, "Don't worry about it." So we get the bodies into the plane. We get poor Jim and Corey into the plane, and we head back to Iquitos. By the time we got to the base, you had CNN, all the Latin news. Everyone's covering this whole thing. So we got them out of the area, lodged them in a hotel, and we got the story. And basically, it was easy. I said, "Jim, tell me right now, honestly, are there any drugs in that plane?" He said, "Sean, I'm a missionary. I preach the word of God, all these jungle people," right? I said, "I get it. What's on the plane?" He says, "Well, there's 2 kilos of farina." I said,
What's that?
Farina is like wheat, right? It's
weed. He's got the weed.
It's wheat. No, it's wheat, like flour, right?
Oh, like flour.
Farina, right? Farina.
Got some food on the plane.
It's flour. I said,
Yeah.
"What's it look like?" "Oh, so that's white and it's 2 kilos." I said, right off the bat, I said, this is
They
not.
thought it was coke. Yeah.
They're going to find that and they're going to charge him with it. So I radioed out to my guys. Said, "Guys, do not, absolutely not, let anyone into that plane." Right? No, and the guy was good. He said, "No, Sean, we're fine. We're just around it. No one's touching the plane." I said, "Fine." So we ended up getting poor Jim and his son and wife and daughter back to Houston on a commercial air, right? And then my partner and I had the daunting task of trying to find a crane in the middle of the jungle to lift this plane out of the water. Anyways, it's a long story. It turned out great. He and I have been friends. And like I said, in 2001, and I've talked to him every year since then on his anniversary. He's a great guy, and it became a major problem. Went to Capitol Hill, and he made out fine. So
Amazing story.
and so basically, I was my partner. I received the DEA Administrators Award for heroism in doing this rescue. It's not really
Amazing.
a big, knock on the door, shoot them out, DEA stuff. But to me, it was one of the greatest experiences I ever had.
Helping a family in a tough spot.
Oh my God, it was hard.
Thank God
Very
you were
hard.
there. Honestly,
Thank
a
God.
trauma on top of trauma. We got some more comments. Donation from Latina. She says, "Hey Sean, want to say thank you for standing up for Karen Reed as a law enforcement officer. I see no other Leos doing what you do. They don't want to get involved. It takes a lot to do what you do. Thank you. Only love for you."
Gracias.
And Mike just signed up as a new member on our YouTube. Thank you, Mike. And $10 came from A. They say, I don't know if it's just she or he. I don't know why I said she. They posted, "So many innocent people are getting hurt in this. Turtle Boy, Canton 9. When are the FBI going to put an end to this? When is enough enough?" What do you think, Sean? I think we talked about that earlier, but what do you think?
Well, I mean, let's face it. They're going to come in soon with their evidence to both the Commonwealth and to the defense. All right, we're going to have some kind of closure in this case. But as far as the other part, well, we'll see. All right, I think they have it. So that part is completely on them. They run at their own speed for their own reasons. I know their reasons. It happens when it happens. That's the only thing I can say.
Question someone I want to ask about Higgins. He's the ATF agent. What do you think about that? We don't really know, right?
No. I know some. I know a couple of weeks ago he was in town. A couple of buddies of mine who are friends with cops up there said he showed his face around, and there was a story from some of the police officers that he was looking for a job. Now, if that's true, I don't know. But that's the last I heard.
One of the things that I saw some pushback today from a guy who I think doesn't like Turtle Boy. He's not like a total hater, like he's not spending all his time posting about it. This guy actually has a little bit of credibility, and as a journalist and like police oversight and locally in Massachusetts. He made a post about Brian Tully and noting that Brian Tully, as far as the post commission goes, has only had a couple complaints, and they weren't, they were basically dismissed. There was no issue found with him as a police officer. He's been a state police officer for a while. Like, why would a guy like that seems like a straight shooter, that was, friends with John O'Keefe's brother, through Stonehill College, played football with him. Why do you think he's like kind of involved in this? If you think there is a conspiracy,
This is my problem. All right. Listen, before this incident, obviously Proctor, Buchanan, Tully were all straight shooters. I mean, I still go back to this question. All right. What would be so powerful that would cause so many people to risk their careers and their freedom? Why would they do that? Right? Now, what I find kind of interesting is this. Why is a lieutenant? Now, a lieutenant supervises that supervise detectives. That's how it goes, right? He's doing more work than the actual detectives. Why is that? Is that a signal? Why is Tully, as a lieutenant, busting the pavement and making cases when it should be the guys he supervises?
That's a good point.
It's kind
there's also the point on the other side too, like that they just had this big state police bust in a nearby town, of Stoughton for the RMV CDL fraud that was going on. It could actually be connected. We don't know if it's connected. It just seems very strange. But a lot, like that investigation we know had been going on for like almost a year. And those guys were suspended for a while with pay. Now they're suspended without pay.
Right.
But apparently some of the media knew about that they were actually suspended. We haven't heard that for like Proctor and Tully and them.
No.
That's something that the other
No.
side, Kevin, brings up. What do you think about that we haven't heard that they've actually been suspended?
Well,
Does that seem like in their favor?
It's my understanding, because now this was Homeland Security that did the investigation, right? It's my understanding that the Homeland Security enlisted the services of the state police. So state police was in concert with HSI agents, okay, investigators. This case is a public corruption case. They don't have any reason to bring in anyone because of the nature of the investigation. A public corruption case has to stay quiet, has to stay contained for obvious reasons. That's my guess on that.
A comment says, any thoughts that the state police boss, the CDL boss, was purposely exposed first? I know that's what's I've been thinking about. What do you think, Sean?
I think it's a message. I think Josh Levy has gone on record now saying, I don't care who you are. We're coming after you. I mean, no one's above the law. And that, I think he set the tone. And if you looked at his body language, he meant business. He's a straight shooter.
That's the way I see it. But I also started like crazy thinking, like, what if that means he just fronting on this to say, hey, I can be tough and a limited hangout for some goofs who did something on a CDL, but I'm not going to, go all the way on this Karen Reed stuff. Like, I just wonder, what it could actually mean. It definitely seems like there was some kind of message. I don't know if it went the way we hope for. What do you think?
Okay, so we do know, right? Because it was exposed today in Twitter. You probably saw it. One of our good friends on the other side put out that there were wiretaps on the district attorney's cell phone and office phone. Okay. Now, they put it out because that was in Natalie's files. Okay. I guess the gatekeeper allowed that one to go out. All right. I guess they thought they could get me to admit it for some reason, because Turtle Boy had already covered it on one of his lives when he was sitting on his home step after dropping the kids off at school. Okay. It's kind of funny how they're putting these things out. Okay. But what they did do is they did expose something very interesting. And people, I cannot emphasize more. They had their office phones and his cell phone. Okay. We don't know when, but the comment was, we know exactly the exculpatory evidence that was hidden. Lally's been playing hide the football, I don't know what the hell they said, but that's very telling. And I can tell you right now, being a part of wiretaps, you hear the craziest things on those wiretaps. And if they had a cell phone, right, which he probably thought he was very secure on, think about who and what was intercepted. They might have the whole plan to frame Karen on cell phone information. Think about that. Think about that when you hear that the U.S. attorney say, in good conscience, I can't allow this case to go to trial. There's a lot to think about here. But it's all good for Karen. It's all good for Karen. That's the greatest thing. It's not good for that side, but it's good for Karen's side. I can tell you that.
This is a good comment too, because maybe it's just this. Maybe that explains what I was saying about Tully. Like, why would he get involved? It's another theory. It's that Turtle Boy hurt his feelings. I mean, a lot of people get their feelings hurt by Turtle Boy, and they get, who knows?
The night I heard Turtle, listen, Aiden's Aiden.
Yep.
It's his stick. It's what works for him. It's his brand. It didn't settle right with me when he said, I dare you to lock me up. You don't ever say that to a cop. I don't care.
Know, right?
Listen, we know they lied. Okay. We know they lied on the affidavit. Okay. So that says right there what they're willing to do. Okay. But when you poke the bear, he's coming at you. And like I said, so some of the riots out there, you just got to understand, all right? It's a very, it's a very serious and passionate case that's going on. People behind this case, it's not going to be Karen. People's lives are going to be destroyed. And we're going to find out what the reason was, because someone holds the magic key as to why people would risk their careers and their freedom. People going to jail on that planted evidence. People going to jail on the exculpatory evidence that was withheld. That's reality. I can't be more honest or definite than that. That's reality. I'm sorry, guys. The people on the other side, you've been hoodwinked. You've been sold on a story that's basically a hoax. They're telling you lies, and that's the bottom line.
What do you think this TUI process will actually reveal? Like, what is this feds? Because I know they're going to go through a process and decide what they can actually release this date. What do you think?
I'm pretty sure it's done. The bottom line is they're gonna provide both sides what they have. They're gonna provide all the evidence that exculpates Karen on these charges. Now, they may already have the taillight, maybe not. All right, maybe not. They got something that would cause an astute, very, very honest U.S. attorney to make a statement that was not denied, to say, I don't have the conscience to let this go to trial.
I hope so. I hope that this is the result.
Yeah.
It seems like we've been going for an hour and 50 minutes, Sean. They say you're old, but you haven't missed a beat.
I got a lot of energy, I can tell you right now. And
you got a sunburn too. I could see it under your eyes.
Oh,
you been wearing the glasses. You been out golfing. What have you been doing?
No, we haven't had sun in a long time. I was out there in the yard today doing stuff. But listen, when you have the truth in your side, I don't have notes. I can talk. I can recite this case back and forth, left to right, back to front, front to back. It doesn't matter. When you have the truth in your side, it just flows. It flows.
Someone asked, do the feds do weekend busts? What do you think on that one?
No, because well, it depends.
Maybe it's a Sunday morning, Monday morning, actually, Sunday night. Yeah.
Well, in a case like this, unless there's anything that would suggest there's any danger, I don't think there is. Listen, honestly, it's all contained. They know who they have. I can almost guarantee that a lot of people have already signed up for cooperation agreements, plea agreements. They're just waiting. I don't know what they're waiting on, but they got their own reasons. The reason they don't do it because they want to make sure that they get before a magistrate so they don't have to spend time in jail. So get before a magistrate, which means they don't do it on weekends. They don't do it on late Friday nights unless there's an emergency. That's, it's kind of how it goes. But we have locked up people, but it's in process when you have to do it. They don't have to do it. They control the time. They got the remote control right in their hand. They can say anytime they want, stop, go, reverse, forward. It's on their show.
Here's a question that came in. They said, I have a question. Was John O'Keefe partnered with Pat Rogers as a patrolman?
I don't know necessarily if he was partnered with. I know they were very good friends. Very good friends. I believe John is the godfather of the son that Pat fathered with a lady. I'm not sure who it is. I think that I'm not sure, but I think he's Pat Rogers' son's or child's godfather.
Excellent. Anything you want to share before we, wrap it up tonight? Because I've had you for over an hour and 50 minutes here.
No, I'm just listen. Listen. I know on both sides. I know this is a passionate thing. I mean, listen. This is like Patriots against Buffalo, Patriots against whatever, Bruins against the Canadians. Someone's going to win and somebody's going to lose. The problem is lives are going to be extremely affected. That's the problem. And Listen, I talk to these guys on the other side. I have no problem with them. I like their comments. I actually laugh. Some of these guys make me laugh. I like them all the time. All right. But the thing is, someone's going to lose and somebody's going to win. I'm taking the winner's side on this one. And it's not because I'm a traitor. It's not because I'm crazy or delusional or detached from reality or whatever Kevin says I am. It's because I believe in what I know. I believe in my experience. I believe in my gut. And I believe in the stuff that Natalie gave me, which is kind of like cheating, but I don't care. It comes.
Do you want to take a chance on taking phone calls? What do you think?
Sure. I'm here.
We'll take only a couple, like, because we do got to go. And
That's fine. Whatever you got to do, Mike.
Yeah, let's take a couple. If people want to donate to the defense funds, or at the bottom of the screen, you can definitely do that. We have a phone number 978-560-3155. I haven't done this in a while. I haven't opened the phone lines. People have been asking for it. They like when we open the phone lines. So you know how it goes. Sometimes it doesn't work though. So people try calling in. You want in? Call in. Yeah.
Long as it's not Nikki.
It probably will be. Nikki calls in a lot, but I gave him his time tonight. I don't think he needs more. Oh, you're live on the show. Who's calling? You got to turn off the show when you're calling in, though. I can hear it in the background. Can you hear us?
Hello.
Hi. Who's calling?
Hi, my name's Eileen.
Hi, Eileen.
I have a question for Sean. Hi, Sean. How given that you've worked so close to the underworld, how galling is it for you to have some knowledge about the law enforcement officers that are implicated in this scheme?
Okay, that's a great question. So on another show, I was asked to give highlights of my career and the lowest points in my career. So I've been retired since 2011. All right, so I had 35 years in. And one of my highlights was, in fact, this Peruvian case. That really is heartfelt for me. So I told the other channel, he said, what would be your low life? I said, I was always a believer. I'm embarrassed to be in the profession I gave my whole life to for 35 years because of this case. This case, even though I'm not in law enforcement, has brought me to my lowest because that's how bad and that's how corrupt the whole system is on this, the whole system. So what was her name again? Eileen? Eileen. Yeah, Eileen. Yeah, this has affected me a lot, greatly. I don't know if that answers your question, but yeah, I'm not proud because of those officers.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you for calling, Eileen. Let's take another call. If anyone wants to call in, this is your opportunity. Well, we got them. As soon as we hang up, we got another one. I love it. Full lines, as I say. We only can take one call at a time. So if you get a busy signal, just keep calling back. Yeah, we got another call. Who's on the phone here?
It's Jean from Dorchester.
Oh, what's up?
Hey.
How you doing?
Hey, how are you, Mike? I'm so glad you're back on. I love it.
Good to hear from you, Gene.
Sorry, I'm a little under the weather.
Gene, what
do you got
parish
for
you're
Sean
from?
tonight? Yeah, you guys
Gene.
are both
St.
from
Margaret's.
Dorchester, right?
St. Margaret's. My
St.
mother,
Margaret's in the house.
my mother and father got married at St. Margaret's Church. My mother grew up on Buttonwood there, off of Dodd Ave. Yeah, great area.
I grew up on Fuller Street.
All right, beautiful. Yeah, I was a St. Peter's boy. You know that. So we do it by parishes, right?
Yes, I know that.
All right.
Yes. Yep. I think my father went to St. Peter's.
Beautiful. Wow.
You might know him. He was somewhat of a troubled character back in the day.
Yeah, well, I was just a kid, you know. It's funny. You let the kids run wild. The things I did as a kid, I wouldn't let my kids now. They're 40. What I did as a kid, 7, 8 years old, it's crazy.
I know, we grew up a lot different. We really did,
grew up
but I wouldn't change a thing. I loved it.
Never. You're right. I love how you say
Never
dot,
changed a
Chester,
thing, but-
dot rat.
Yep, Dorchester. I have a quick question. I'm sick. I have a really bad cold, wicked cold, so mind my voice. But
No problem.
the 911 call. Now, in my experience watching cases, they always release the 911 call. Like way before trial, we always hear it. Why do you think they haven't released the actual 911 call yet?
Well, judging from the recording that was released, by the way, by
Yep.
Kate Peters was the first one to release that recording. She didn't get charged, but Turtle Boy's being blamed for it. But if you listen closely to that call, the real end between Jen and the dispatcher has to be so damning because you get to hear what the dispatcher was asking her. And I believe when you can determine what she's actually saying versus what she's being asked, that will tell a huge story in itself. And I believe that's the reason.
But isn't it for the public? Aren't we allowed? Isn't it does the DA actually have say when that is released? Isn't it public knowledge?
They control what gets released, and unfortunately, that's their evidence.
Okay.
Now, like you said, it's true.
I
If you look in any of these true crime stories or any of these, whatever, the first thing you hear, the 911 call.
Everywhere. I hear them everywhere before the cases even came to trial.
Right.
It's always released. So I don't understand how. I mean, I get what you're saying that it's up to the DA, but I don't understand why they are allowed to keep it from the public. Like, we should be able to call and be like, we want to hear the tape.
Right. Well, like I said,
it
is a 911 call. You would think that it's basic, and there's got to be a very, very compelling reason why they haven't.
And they can call it evidence and not
that's
release it. That's the the key to it. They can call it evidence and not release it.
Hey, but by the grace of God, and I got to say, there's all kinds of God shots everywhere. That's a God shot. The fact that we were able to be at the moment poor Karen finds John, and we get to see the difference in two women that knew John. One for 10 years.
Yeah, just right.
Yeah.
You can hear Karen screaming, and it's chilling.
It's a
chilling.
tough call to listen to.
And it really is.
Yeah, and what we've heard for people that are new to this is a recording of the 911 call on another cell phone, but not actually the official 911 call. So it's very interesting. Thank you so much, Gene. Thanks for calling. And
all
listening.
right, thanks, Mike, for taking my call. Nice talking to you, Sean.
Hey, Gene from DOT, you're the best.
All right, thank you. Have a good night, guys.
You too. I hope you feel better. Hope Gene feels better. And it's St. Margaret's girl calling. Talk to St. Yeah. You called a guy from St. Peter's, right? Is that where?
That's right.
We'll take this last call. This will be our final call. You got to be quick. You got to turn down your computer because we can hear it in the background.
You got it off, Mike. This is Paul Cristoforo. How are you?
Good. How you doing, Paul?
Good. Hey, Sean, I just want to say, man, I love all your stuff on the Karen Reed stuff, but do you have any insight or thoughts on the Canton Nines?
I think, honestly, why would a bunch of people sitting on a corner of a street away from the target be charged? I think it's a travesty, and I feel bad for them. I really do. I hope that magistrate sees the senses to null pros that case It's a travesty. And you got they get the DA controlling the cops. You got one cop on the microphone saying, "So what? They can protest, right?" I mean, come on. It's another hoax. That's what it is. So.
And Paul, I want to ask you about it because it seemed like the magistrate should have made a ruling on that by now for some of those cases, and they haven't, right? What's going on with that?
That was my next question. Is it because I'm not too familiar with the workings of how the courts work, but it's been over 2 weeks since the hearings have been over, and there hasn't been a word said. Is that normal?
No, it should not be normal. Matter of fact, I mean, listen, I imagine all 9 or all 8 had the same argument, right? I mean, the story never changed. They could have been decided right then and there. The evidence didn't change.
Yep, I agree. So that's all I wanted to say. I wanted to bring up the Canton 9.
Paul, by the
so
way,
much.
I just want to tell Paul, by the way, yourself and your 2 partners there are doing an incredible job. I do watch your little YouTube lives. I really love seeing you guys. And you're not even from the town. You're supporting it great. I love your support for the town, the Canton 9, Karen, the whole 9. Thank you for what you do.
Yeah, and we're gonna be out there Tuesday at 3:00 at Morrissey's office for a peaceful protest too. So,
And
Very
Paul,
good, Paul.
how can people find your YouTube for the ones that haven't subscribed? I know you got like 1,000 people already. I just saw the other day. It's growing. What's the name of the YouTube?
Resistance to Silence.
Awesome. And people could just Google that on YouTube or put it in there and find it.
Yeah, I'll post the link in the chat too.
Awesome. Thank you for calling. Thank you for being our final call.
Yep.
It's a good one.
Great.
All right. Thanks, Mike. Nice to see you back.
You too. Thank you, Paul.
Bye.
Awesome. They've been doing a lot too.
Awesome, Mike.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being here tonight, Sean.
Oh, Mike, listen, I'm glad you're back. I know it wasn't easy for you. I know exactly what you were going through. All right.
We got one more call. Should we take it? We should take it. This is
Come on. Let's face it.
You know why? You know why we'll take it? Actually, now we got other calls, but I want to take this call because it was someone hold on. Let me get rid of some calls. We had a call that I want to take.
Okay.
And he'll be quick. He's an attorney. He's been on the show before. I think you know him, Brian.
Brian, yeah, good guy.
Yeah, let's make him the final call since he was calling us a second ago. If I can get him on the line, hold on. See, I can't. Every time I try to call, someone else calls. Do you see what I'm saying? I can't. Stop calling me, people. I'm trying to call somebody. Oh my God, this is out of control. Brian, are you on the? On the line? Brian?
Hello.
Hi, Brian.
Hey, Mike.
You're our final call of the night. What do you got for us, Brian? Attorney Brian.
Well, how you doing, Sean?
How you doing, Brian?
I wanted to ask you, when the car was towed, where should it have gone?
To the first closest state police barracks.
You still there, Brian?
Yes, I am. Yes. Well, I mean, is the blizzard a good excuse?
A good excuse. It was not Canton's jurisdiction. As a matter of fact, they went out of their way in the blizzard. They should have gone to Middleborough. That was the closest state police barracks.
Okay. I mean, what is the excuse for bringing it to Canton?
Because it was closest to the crime scene, because they had to get the evidence down there before the cert got called out. That's the bottom line. I hate to say it, people.
Well, what I mean is, what's the excuse that Proctor's going to use?
He first of all, he's not going to get that chance. I wish he would, because selfishly, I would love to see this go to trial, but it's not. And Karen needs to go home scot-free, never to see this again. But his excuse will be, Listen. I can't even guess at this. That's how ridiculous this whole thing is. I'm sorry. I got to call it like it is. What would he say? Seriously.
Well, I see the Twitter trolls arguing that it was closest to his home, so it was easiest for him to deal with.
Okay. Well, yeah, like I said, Brian, he can say what he wants to say. Video never lies. Video never lies, Brian.
All right. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you,
got
Brian.
it, Brian.
Bye.
It's our final call of the night. We're shutting down the phone lines. Thank you so much for everyone for calling. We had 3 calls: Brian, Gene, and Eileen. Those are good calls,
Eileen.
right? Oh,
Yeah,
and Paul.
great-
And Paul Christopher. Yeah. 4
Great calls. Great
Just 4
calls.
quick calls. They were good calls.
Great
And I
calls.
want to thank you, Sean. It's been over 2 hours. They're still calling. I got to turn off the phone. Seriously, don't call us. I took down the phone line, but still people are going to be calling me all night. I guarantee you at midnight, I'll still be getting calls, Sean. I'm going to shut down my phone completely. Go
Can
ahead.
I tell you, Mike, it's kind of funny. No matter what venue I've ever gone on, they'll say, okay, well, Sean, we'll do 30 minutes. We'll do an hour. I said, okay, that's what you say. Always take the over because it always goes over. I mean, I could go on forever on this case, but I enjoy this show a lot, Michael, and I'm glad you're back, and I'm glad I could help people understand how traumatizing this has to be for Karen. And I do see this ending. I see it ending soon. All right. I talked about a couple of bumps in the road. Who knows what they're scheming? Who knows what they're planning? Okay. But to do 31 pages for a simple seizure and search of 2 cell phones is outrageous. And I just hope that they come to their senses. And hope for the best.
I want to thank you so much for being here tonight, and all of our listeners, and people for calling and watching, and especially for Sean tonight. Thank you so much, Sean McDonough. And I had for time wise, I had no expectation. I was just like, we're just gonna go as long as we want to. We had fun tonight.
I think it was great, Michael. I appreciate. I'll always come on, Mike. I love it. I have a new studio here, so it's great. The dogs weren't barking. We did fine.
And after this is over too, I want to continue to have you on too. I love the stories, the law enforcement stories that you told tonight, the rescue. That was amazing. Thank you so much for being here, Sean.
You're welcome, Michael, and I appreciate being on. Godspeed.
You too. And I'm going to close. I'm going to play that video again for people that didn't see it at the beginning. John Como just created a little video for Sean tonight to promote it. We didn't ask him. He just created it. We love that. You can find him on Canton Community Voices on his Facebook, in the Facebook group. People know him from Canton Confidential. His brother runs that one. Those brothers are good guys too. They've put up with a lot of pressure too. Yeah. So I want to thank them. And and then we're going to play the court TV stuff too. Boston 25, because they're having some great coverage. So I would continue, if you like this, I would check out our, subscribe to us, but also check out Court TV right now, apparently, and also Boston 25. I think you're going to see a lot more coming up in the next few days, hopefully.
Okay.
Back at 8:13, it's a story our Ted Daniel broke yesterday. A state police search warrant unsealed, adding more intrigue to the case of Karen Reed. She's accused of backing into her police officer boyfriend with her SUV and leaving him for dead. The warrant shows Reed shared sensitive information about her case with Aiden Carney, the blogger known as Turtle Boy, who was defending her in his blog posts. Pleased to be joined this morning by Boston 25 legal analyst, noted defense attorney Peter Ellikin. And Peter, another twist in this case. This information was gathered after state police seized 2 of Karen Reed's phones. So how unusual is it for a defendant to essentially be the leaker of information to the public?
Well, it's generally speaking, we lawyers don't like our clients to talk to anybody at all because they obviously, even if they were accused of a crime, they could say something that would be harmful to them. However, there is absolutely nothing improper or illegal about this. An accused citizen can talk to neighbors, friends, journalists, certainly journalists talk to accused people all the time. So I'm not really getting the importance of this story. It's kind of a tempest in a teapot. A prosecutor can't have it both ways. You can't accuse someone publicly of, evil, monstrous acts, killing somebody, and they're not allowed to advocate for themselves and say, no, this is why, here's evidence why I'm not guilty. This is why I don't think so. You're as an accused citizen under every bit of the Constitution, you are allowed to talk publicly or to journalists.
So as you mentioned, I mean, do you think her attorneys were aware of and would they approve of doing this? I'm guessing you don't think so, at least in terms of approving this.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly wouldn't. It's conventional wisdom. We lawyers never want our clients to talk. Clients, particularly ones who are actually guilty, often won't realize that they're saying incriminating things about themselves. So as generally speaking, as policy, we never want them to talk to anybody else or journalists. Again, nothing illegal or improper about it, but lawyers just generally don't like it.
And so then no crime here, you're saying?
I don't see anything whatsoever at all. And they're trying to mention witness intimidation or I don't know whether this is just a way to kind of get into her phones to kind of dig and see what else they can find or whatever. But so far, everything that's been disclosed to the public now, what she's talked to with Turtle Boy or with any journalist, there's no sign there of witness intimidation or jury tampering or any of the implications the prosecutor's talking about at this time.
And do you see this having any impact, Peter, on the case, which is set to begin the trial next month?
No, I really think this is irrelevant unless something new comes out. The idea that somebody's advocating or, accused citizen advocating for themselves, I don't see how that can affect the case at all. There's just something wrong, improper, or illegal about it. So I don't see it affecting the case whatsoever.
A lot of media coverage on this case. Do you think there'll be a request for a change of venue or bringing in a jury from another county for this case by any chance?
I haven't heard any rumblings about that at this point. And the main problem is there's, we could say another county, but this has gotten such publicity everywhere. It's not like only people there in Norfolk County or in the Dedham area are aware of it and people in Springfield aren't. I think we're all so aware of it. I don't know whether you could find a jury who hadn't heard anything about this case yet, certainly here in Massachusetts.
All right, so our defense attorney, legal expert, Peter Ellikin, sharing his insight this morning. Peter, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. Thanks so much.
Pleasure, thanks.